The Gambia faces significant challenges from climate change, including droughts, flooding, and coastal erosion, making it one of the top 100 most vulnerable countries to these impacts. Despite the country's minimal contribution to global greenhouse gas emissions, it is highly susceptible to climate-related threats, particularly concerning food security. Ranking 148 out of 182 countries on the Notre Dame Global Adaptation Initiative's Country Index in 2021, the Gambia has actively engaged in international efforts to combat climate change, including its membership in the Climate Vulnerable Forum that focuses on South-South cooperation on climate issues. On a national level, the country has established the National Climate Change Policy and the Long-Term Climate Neutral Development Strategy 2050 to address climate change challenges. The launch of the Gambia's second Nationally Determined Contribution (NDC) on July 24, 2024 aims to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 49.7% by 2030 and achieve net zero emissions by 2050, requiring an estimated cost of $315,850 that depends on international cooperation. The Minister of Environment, Climate Change and Natural Resources, Honorable Rahijan Manjang, hailed the NDC launch as a historic moment for the Gambia in leading the fight against climate change.
NDC2 came to shoulder a much bigger burden, to be more ambitious. And one would say that the NDC2 is already clicking a time out, and we are expecting the third NDC to come up very soon in 2025. So we will ask, why are we now launching the implementation of the NDC? Yes, it's very important. And the implementation plan is from up to 2030. That tells you that the NDCs are ongoing process in terms of actions that leads to mitigation and helping all of us together to adapt to the impact of climate change. So the NDC, the third NDC is going to build on this second NDC. And we will all agree that it's not going to fall short meeting the Paris Agreement in terms of the 1.5 temperature reduction gradually to net zero.
The country has submitted its updated nationally determined contribution to the UNFCCC, aligned with the Gambia's recovery-focused national development plan for 2023-2027. The NDC implementation plans to integrate climate action across all sectors of national development from 2021 to 2030. Encouraging strong political will and widespread support from Gambians, the Environment Minister expressed gratitude to international partners for their contribution and determination during the NDC development process.
We all know that plans can never be ambitious if the country doesn't have the will to move it forward. So therefore, this implementation is not only an implementation for the technicians to implement, but it's going to dictate the political will in terms of Gambia's participation in making sure that we implement our NDC targets, which are factored in 5 critical areas in our development sphere. I will just name these 5 so that we can all have a reflect. That's the energy sector. We all understand that the energy sector plays a pivotal role in reducing the impact of climate change. But we also have the transport sector. And the transport sector is not only about vehicles that are climate friendly, but even making sure that we have a motorable, usable roads that will reduce traffic time. And the Gambia is doing as much as possible to make sure that we increase roads that are usable, that will also support in reducing traffic time and also the use of fuel to that effect.
International partners supporting the Gambia's NDC implementation include the UNDP, the Africa Development Bank, the Global Environment Facility, the Green Climate Fund, among others, all of whom play a crucial role in achieving the country's climate goals. Sambunget is the program officer at the UNDP.
Of the NDC's concerted climate change action. Through concerted climate change action is critical to avoiding or mitigating widespread negative impacts of climate change across ecosystems and economies. It can also contribute to sustainable development, better jobs, and development of a modern, innovative economy with additional benefits, particularly in helping the Gambia to close the energy access gap and also accelerate its energy transition. While there is not one-size-fits-all solution to achieve carbon neutrality, countries such as the Gambia that are committed to robust climate action can benefit from sustainable global networks and to help them find local solutions.
Dr. Pablo Vera, Global Director of NDCP, praised the Gambia's dedication to climate action and economic growth, affirming the NDCP's commitment to strengthen partnership with the country.
Despite being among the lowest emitters of greenhouse gas emissions, the Gambia is globally recognized for having one of the most ambitious nationally determined contributions, aiming for 49.7% reduction in greenhouse gas emissions, which is compatible with the 1.5 degrees C target as per the Climate Action Tracker. Your Excellency, this is highly commendable, and we hope more countries will follow in your footsteps in the upcoming NDC enhancement process.
Presiding over the launching ceremony, Vice President of the Gambia, His Excellency Mohamed B.S. Jallow, emphasized the importance of the NDC in tackling climate change impacts, particularly on agriculture and socio-economic development.
By its negligible contribution to the global climate crisis, the Gambia has demonstrated strong political will and technical readiness, according to its national capability to achieve the 2050 net zero greenhouse gas emissions target. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I'm glad to remind you all that our second NDC is recognized globally as an ambitious one and compatible with the Paris Agreement targets for reducing greenhouse gas emissions. Since science has proven that the NDCs, including the LDCs, including the Gambia, contribute the least to the climate change problem, yet they are the most affected. Therefore, I call on all of us to exert the required political will and effort to finance global climate actions based on our different national circumstances and capabilities.
The NDC's priority sectors include agriculture, land use change and forestry, energy, transport, waste management, and industrial processes and product use. With innovative financial measures outlined in the National Recovery Plan, the government aims to enhance access to finance for the NDC initiatives. The country is also developing a national adaptation plan to identify specific areas for adaptation actions, particularly in the agricultural sector, aligning with the Gambia's long-term climate-neutral development strategy 2050. Maria Madam, reporting for Star TV News.